Welcome back. This is Taekook fanfiction story. When Alpha Police Officer and Omega Mafia King Fell in Love Part 3. Are you ready? When news reached the John family, the house erupted in thunder. Outrageous. Mr. John's voice boomed through the hall, his fists slamming against the polished oak desk. My son, a John, bleeding in the streets for a filthy criminal? For that mafia trash. Jungkook sat across from him, his arm freshly bandaged, his expression unwavering. His mother sat quietly beside him, her eyes glistening with worry, while Hoseok stood with arms crossed, silent but tense. It wasn't about him being mafia, Jungkook said firmly. It was about saving a life. That's my job. Your job, Mr. John spat, is to uphold law and order, not throw yourself in front of bullets for gangsters. His voice cracked with fury and fear. Do you have any idea what it means if word spreads? That a John heir, my son, protected Kim Taehyung? Do you know what it does to our name, to our reputation? Father, Hoseok finally interjected, his voice calm but heavy. Jungkook chose this life knowing the risks. You can't demand he serve the company and then criticize him for serving justice. Mr. John turned to Hoseok, his glare sharp. Justice? This wasn't justice. This was recklessness. And for whom? An Omega parading as an Alpha, manipulating the underworld. Jungkook's head snapped up at that, his father's words digging deep. You don't know him, he said, voice low but firm. Don't talk about him like that. The room froze. Even Jungkook's mother blinked, startled at the edge in his voice. Mr. John leaned back, his face twisting with disappointment. Careful, Jungkook, he said coldly. You're starting to sound like you care about him. Jungkook didn't answer, but the silence was louder than words. A few nights later, Jungkook found himself sitting on a bench near the riverside docks, his bandaged arm resting heavily in his lap. He had tracked Taehyung there, though this time the Mafia King wasn't surrounded by men. He stood alone, cigarette between his fingers, staring out at the water. Jungkook approached cautiously, but before he could speak, Taehyung broke the silence. You're a fool. His tone was steady but softer than usual. Jumping into bullets for me. Do you think I'm worth that? Yes, Jungkook answered without hesitation. Taehyung turned his head, eyes narrowing, but the bite in his expression faltered. You don't even know me, John. You see a criminal, a cruel, a liar. You should hate me. So why? Because you're human, Jungkook said simply. And no one deserves to be executed in the dark without a chance to fight back. Not even you. For a long moment, Taehyung just stared at him, silent. The usual arrogance, the mocking edge, it wasn't there. Instead, his lips pressed into a thin line, his shoulders stiff as if he were holding back something unfamiliar. When he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than Jungkook had ever heard. You're insane, officer. But, he glanced away, eyes fixed on the rippling water. Thank you. The words were so soft, Jungkook almost thought he imagined them. But he didn't miss the way Taehyung's facade wavered. The cold Mafia King cracking, revealing a softer truth beneath. And Jungkook, despite himself, found that he wanted to see more. The John mansion was heavy with silence after the storm of arguments days before. Jungkook's father had been watching him closer, his anger cold and simmering. But Jungkook's mind wasn't on family dinners or business meetings. It kept circling back to the riverside, to the way Taehyung had whispered thank you like it cost him his pride. Jungkook caught sight of Taehyung again 2 nights later, this time at one of his own hideouts, a luxury penthouse all marble and shadows. Jungkook shouldn't have been there, but Taehyung hadn't thrown him out. They sat across from each other, a bottle of whiskey between them. Taehyung poured a glass, his usual smirk faint but lacking real edge. "You're persistent, John," Taehyung said, swirling the amber liquid. "Most men in your shoes would have disappeared after my threats. But you," his eyes flicked to Jungkook's bandaged arm. "You bleed and come back smiling. Are you stupid? Or just desperate to play hero?" "Maybe both," Jungkook replied dryly, earning a huff of laughter from Taehyung. A real laugh, not the sharp, mocking one he used with his men. And then it happened. Taehyung's wrist brushed against the table, his scent faint in the air. Jungkook stilled. It wasn't the sharp, cold alpha mask scent Taehyung always projected. It was softer, sweeter. Omega. Taehyung caught himself quickly, jaw tightening as he grabbed a suppressant vial from his pocket and swallowed without a word. But Jungkook saw the flicker of panic in his eyes, the way his hand trembled before he steadied it. "You don't have to hide from me," Jungkook said quietly. Taehyung's gaze snapped up, sharp and defensive. "Don't?" His voice dropped, almost pleading beneath the steel. "Don't say it. Don't look at me like that." Jungkook leaned forward, meeting his eyes. "I see strength, Taehyung, not weakness." The words lodged in Taehyung's chest. He wanted to snap back, to mock, to remind Jungkook that Mafia kings didn't need pity. But instead what slipped out was something far too honest. "No one's ever said that to me before." The silence stretched, heavy and fragile. Jungkook didn't press further, but he knew. The mask was breaking. Back at the John estate, Mr. John's patience had run dry. "You will end this, Jungkook." His voice was like thunder in the study, his glare cutting across the desk. "No more chasing shadows. No more Mafia filth. I won't allow my son to ruin our name over some criminal masquerading as an alpha." Jungkook straightened, fists clenched. "With all respect, father, it's not your decision. This is my job, my mission." "This is not a mission anymore," his father roared, slamming his fist down. "It's an obsession. I see it in your eyes. You're drawn to him. And it will destroy you." Jungkook's mother flinched at the harsh words but remained silent. Hoseok, standing nearby, stepped forward cautiously. "Father, maybe?" "No, Hoseok." Mr. John's tone was final. His gaze bore into Jungkook. "I will not watch another son of mine gamble his life for recklessness. If you will not step away from this Omega, then I will see to it myself." The word Omega hung in the air, sharp as a blade. Jungkook's chest tightened. His father knew. And for the first time Jungkook felt a new kind of fear. Not for himself, but for Taehyung. Because if his father was willing to step in, it meant Taehyung was no longer just his secret. He was a target. Later that night, Jungkook returned to the penthouse. He found Taehyung standing by the glass wall, city lights glittering across his face. "You shouldn't keep coming back here," Taehyung muttered without turning. One day you won't walk out. Maybe, Jungkook said, stepping closer. But I'm not afraid of you, Taehyung. And I don't think you want me to be. Taehyung exhaled slowly, the weight of exhaustion in his posture. Why do you keep protecting me? You're supposed to arrest me, hate me, so why? Jungkook stopped just behind him, his voice steady but soft. Because when I look at you, I don't see a monster. I see someone who's been forced to fight every damn day just to prove he's strong. Someone who deserves to be seen for who he really is. Taehyung's hands curled into fists, his chest tight with emotions he didn't want to feel. His voice cracked just slightly. You'll regret this, John. If you keep looking at me like that, one of us will get hurt. Jungkook's reply was quiet but certain. Then let it be me. And Taehyung, for the first time in years, couldn't hold his mask anymore. His eyes stung, his chest ached. And though he didn't say it, something deep inside him whispered that maybe, just maybe, Jungkook was the only person he could trust to see the Omega he truly was. The penthouse was dimly lit, the golden glow of a chandelier spilling over a lavish dinner table. Jungkook sat across from Taehyung, the clink of cutlery against porcelain the only sound between them. It had been Taehyung's idea. Dinner instead of whiskey, conversation instead of silence. But as Jungkook watched him in the soft light, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a meal. Felt like a test. Jungkook's gaze lingered. On the sharp line of Taehyung's jaw. On the way his lips curved against the rim of his wine glass. On the eyes that looked too sharp to belong to someone so breakable. You stare too much, Taehyung murmured, setting his glass down. Because you make it hard to look away, Jungkook replied, voice steady, eyes unwavering. Taehyung scoffed softly, but the way his fingers tightened around his fork betrayed him. Jungkook's aura was pressing against him, not in aggression but in something far more dangerous. Intimacy. The alpha's pheromones, unrestrained and warm, filled the room like smoke. And then it hit. The sharp tug in Taehyung's chest, the sudden rush of heat flooding through his veins. His body trembled, his pulse racing as the first wave of his suppressed heat broke free. His scent, lavender, soft yet overwhelming, burst into the air. Jungkook froze. His alpha wolf roared awake inside him, instincts demanding, claiming. Every nerve screamed to take, to mark, to bind. Taehyung gasped, his chair scraping back as he gripped the edge of the table. Breath shuddering. No, not now. He pressed his thighs together, but the ache only worsened, the lavender scent thickening. His eyes lifted to Jungkook's, wide, desperate. Jungkook, his voice cracked, raw with need. Help me. Please. I can't hold it. Jungkook's hands curled into fists, fighting himself. Taehyung, if I touch you now, I won't stop. Then don't, Taehyung whispered, stepping closer, trembling. His hand brushed Jungkook's chest, feeling the thrum of his heartbeat beneath. I don't want you to stop. Please, help me. The plea broke him. Jungkook stood, his chair scraping back, his alpha pheromones exploding in response to Taehyung's lavender. He caught Taehyung by the waist, pulling him close, lips crashing down in a kiss that was both fire and desperation. Taehyung melted instantly, moaning into the kiss, fingers clutching Jungkook's shirt. Kook. Jungkook pulled back, breathing hard, pressing their foreheads together. Tell me if this isn't what you want. Say it and I'll stop. Taehyung shook his head frantically, tears pricking his eyes from the overwhelming heat. I want you, only you, please. Jungkook growled low in his chest, scooping Taehyung into his arms and carrying him to the bedroom. He laid him down gently, stripping away the coldness that had always wrapped around the Mafia king. Tonight, Taehyung wasn't a king. He was an omega in heat, soft and trembling, needing his alpha. Jungkook kissed every inch of his skin, slow and reverent, whispering against his throat, "You're beautiful, mine." Taehyung clung to him, whispering through broken breaths, "Don't leave me. Don't let go." "I never will," Jungkook promised, sliding inside with careful patience, filling Taehyung completely, easing the unbearable ache. Taehyung cried out, arching against him, his lavender scent flooding the room until Jungkook's own musky alpha scent wrapped around them both, binding them in invisible threads. Every thrust was gentle, every kiss lingering. Jungkook brushed Taehyung's hair back, his lips pressing to his damp forehead. "I'll take care of you. Always." Taehyung's tears slipped free, but his smile trembled through them. "Why do you make me feel safe? Even when I should hate you?" "Because you don't," Jungkook whispered, kissing his lips again. "Because you feel it too." Their bodies moved together, heat and instinct colliding with love and tenderness. Taehyung begged softly into Jungkook's ear, "Don't stop. Don't leave, stay with me," while Jungkook whispered back promises, "Mine forever, I'll protect you." When the storm of heat finally eased, Jungkook held him close, their bodies tangled in sweat and warmth. Taehyung buried his face against Jungkook's chest, the alpha's scent soothing what was left of pain. "Jungkook," he whispered, voice heavy with sleep, "don't let anyone see me like this. Only you." Jungkook kissed the crown of his head, tightening his hold. "Only me. Always me." And as Taehyung drifted into exhausted slumber, Jungkook realized it wasn't just instinct anymore. This was fate. Taehyung lay beneath Jungkook, his body trembling, chest rising and falling with sharp breaths. His lavender scent still lingered in the air, wrapping around the alpha like a drug. Jungkook, though trying to calm the wild rhythm of his own wolf, couldn't tear his eyes away from the Omega's flushed face, the way Taehyung's lips parted as if to beg for more. "Jungkook," Taehyung whispered, voice hoarse but filled with warmth, "don't leave me like this. Don't push me away after giving me so much." Jungkook's hand cradled his cheek, thumb brushing away sweat and tears. "I'll never leave you, Taehyung. You're mine whether you want to admit it or not. And I'll protect you even if it costs me my life." Something in Taehyung's eyes softened completely then. And that was the moment Jungkook's wolf stirred fully. His instincts roared, his pheromones thickening until the entire room seemed to pulse with dominance. He kissed Taehyung back deeply, and as their bodies melted together in one final surge of heat and passion, Jungkook's lips trailed down the Omega's neck. Taehyung gasped, claws digging into Jungkook's shoulders. "Jungkook." "Shoo," Jungkook murmured against his skin, voice husky. "I can't hold back anymore. You're mine, Taehyung, my fated Omega." With one final, claiming bite, Jungkook's sharp canines sank gently but firmly into Taehyung's neck. A mark, fiery, binding, unbreakable, spread across his skin, sealing their bond in a way no words ever could. Taehyung cried out, not in pain but in overwhelming release, clutching him tighter as if afraid to let go. His lavender scent bloomed stronger than ever, mixing with the intoxicating musk of Jungkook's alpha pheromones, filling the air with undeniable proof of their union. After Jungkook held him in his arms, kissing the top of his hair. From now on you'll never face anything alone. I'll stand by your side no matter what it costs me. Taehyung, dazed and softened by the intimacy, whispered against his chest, and I'll never let you go, Jungkook. Even if the world turns against us, you're mine too. To be continued? Please stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching.